We are very honored and pleased to have Khaled Alfaqih with us today. Today, he's going to share with us about his meeting with beloved Baba at the 1962 East-West Gathering and his life and his journey in the path of love.
Thank you, and good day to everyone. When I think of that wonderful day that I was blessed to be with Baba, the first thing I think of is light. I actually looked around the room to see what was the source of light illuminating. He was so much brighter than anything else in the room. And he was very welcoming. And it felt very natural to be in his presence. He gestured to some chairs that were empty, and Erich translated, please sit down, be comfortable. But I remember I had the sense just to flop down near his feet. He began to ask, to greet everybody and individuals, and like old friends, and ask them about how they slept and how they felt. And Baba said, don't worry about your loved ones who could not come. I drew you here, and I am equally with them. We spent the morning in his presence. Baba outlined how the meetings will progress, and said he wanted all of us to be very comfortable and happy, and describe how the meetings will be, that in the afternoon he will be in the back with thousands of his lovers, and Baba had arranged for the Westerners to have the first 3 or more seat rows, and I think then we were dismissed until the afternoon session. We had been the group. I was with Ivy Duce's group, and we had been checked into a wonderful place called the Turf Club, very comfortable, and we would return there for lunches and breaks, and sometimes one or more of the mandali would drop by and visit during those times. One of the strong memories I have is meeting the mandali when they were away from Baba. And I was struck by the contrast in my feelings about them when they were not with Meher Baba. I thought that Erich was the first man I had ever met when I saw him at the Turf Club. Totally different from when he was standing behind Baba translating his, when he would essentially, in my understanding, he would disappear. You could see him, but there was no presence of, and the contrast between that and this very strong but benign male presence that he exuded astonished me. The afternoon sessions were under the canopy that was, and all the chairs that were set behind the house that Baba was using in Pune. As I said, he had reserved the first 3 rows for the Western lovers. So we had a wonderful, unobstructed view. And he had mentioned that when we are there in the afternoon, what he wanted us to do was just to observe and to watch what the proceedings were. They had built a platform for Baba to sit on level with a portico that was behind that residence. And at one time, people would be climbing up the stairs and crossing in front of Baba's chair and saluting him and descending. But I think the second day, I'm a little unclear about some of the timelines. He brought his chair, he had his chair brought right to the front of the platform, and people were passing in front of him without having to climb up onto the platform. So people would walk past Baba and namaskar, and a few would reach out and touch his feet, even though he would wave them off because his feet were swollen and very sensitive for whatever reason of his work. And he would do this, but many of them could not resist the opportunity. I remember he told us to watch, to observe him in the afternoon, and I began to notice the different salutations. Some people would not actually bow, they would raise their hand in greeting, and others, like I said, would nearly throw themselves at his feet and not be able to resist touching. And Baba was tirelessly making this gesture of my love and grace go out to you. Murshida had told us that Baba was very tired and that he was not feeling very well. And so a few of us younger people thought that it was our duty to try to make him smile. Not that he scowled. I think we thought that we could lighten his day by, well, I'll speak for myself, by being an idiot. We designed a skit to perform for Baba for one of the morning sessions, and The idea was that I would put on a white jacket and be this strange doctor who offered to give Baba a free medical exam. And to that end, I borrowed one of the doctor's bags and black bags and a stethoscope. And my task was to examine Baba and make sure he was feeling well enough to continue hosting. That was part, the image you're seeing is part of the examination. Diagnosis was included an enlarged heart, very high grace pressure. And I prescribed some silly remedies, including a cocktail that he had to drink once a day. And then I tried to make my escape. But Baba called me back and he said, "Oh, doctor, whoa, don't worry, I'll take your prescription." I was very nervous, of course, and what I thought in the quiet hours of the morning that this farce was scripted in my mind, that it was hilarious, and it really wasn't. So, but every time that reality would begin to surface in my mind, Baba would join. He would make it fun. His presence was very sweet. I'm sure it was overwhelming. But I'm also sure that Baba lifted that weight from our awareness or consciousness and joined us in the joy of being together with the beloved. One of my burning questions in this incarnation was what to do with myself. Every possibility seemed to be equally distant from me, and there was nothing that stood out and said, this is your goal and this is what you should do. So I posed that question to Baba. And what should I do as a career? And I was not alone in that. There was a couple of good friends, notably Brenner Meal, who also wanted to affirm. He was very drawn to choreography and dance and was unsure if that was the way to go or whether he was just indulging. My words, not his. And so Baba agreed to counsel us, and he one of the suggestions I had made is that I could work with my hands and become a chiropractor. I had heard that he had several chiropractors in his fold, such as Dr. Ben Heyman. And he said, yes, he confirmed that that would be a good thing for me to pursue. And he told Bernard that he could also pursue his love for choreography as a profession. A big burden was lifted from me by his guidance. I would have the privilege of writing to him once or twice afterwards to resolve any conflict or issues that I had. Though I'm not clear about the. I remember doing that, but I don't remember what the issues were. Probably an excuse to write Baba. I was very attached to Mirza Ivy Duce. When I think about it, she was the central figure in my life, and a sweet and generous person. I think to everyone that she ever met. But it seemed to me that at one time I thought God put her on earth just for me. I was a student at UC Berkeley when I got a message from Mirza to come to her apartment in San Francisco. I drove up the hill where her apartment was, parked, knocked on her door. She opened the door herself, and she said to me, "Write your father, dear. We are going to India to see God." So it was that allowed me to come to Baba's presence, for which I'm, of course, eternally grateful. It's not a casual thing to meet Meher Baba, and it shakes everything in your life to the core. It helps you, his wind begins to blow away many unnecessary and stubborn obstacles. And even though it's completely benign, it's not always pleasant. And the support that is needed was offered by her.
So we would like to ask everybody if you have any questions for Khaled. We would love to hear it, and he's here to answer.
Actually, I would like to know if Khaled has any experience from East-West gathering.
Yes, that was a wonderful opportunity to be with him, and it was actually the only time I had that privilege. was at the East-West gathering. And the one thing that comes to mind immediately when that phrase is used is Baba's telling us, I drew you here. I brought you here.
So Khaled, our darling and dear friend is asking, how do we know what Baba wants from us? How do we know Baba's wish?
Oh, I look at Baba as my higher self. And I aspire to join that self fully. And even though the route is circuitous, I think, in my opinion, if you keep that in mind, that he is in you and you are of him, you will be okay. Who is to say if the judgment is necessarily has to be 100% correct, but you will reach the goal. I don't think that you will go wrong in your pursuit.
Khaled has more story regarding East-West gathering when he was hugging Baba and, his feeling and everything, He should explain, how he was feeling when he hugged Baba.
Somebody said to me after after I'd been with Baba, that they said, that's strange. He usually doesn't allow anyone but family to touch him. And to me, that was a perfect thing to say, because Baba was saying, you are my family. You are a part of me. And when I say you, I'm representing everyone at that point, without measure.
Hey, Baba, I have a question from Mr. Khaled. I just want to know the most profound effect you had from Baba that affected your life. What was that? What is that?
Beginning to understand what it means to offer your life in his service. He loved all equally and fully, without measure. And as we all know, that's sometimes apparently impossible. But it's the goal. It's our goal, or mine anyway.
I'm sure you had a moment of confusion when you want to make decision for anything. What did you do to be clear for your decision? Are you let it go? Are you give it to Baba? Or
yes, in a very real sense, but not as an excuse, and not as a in American language lingo, cop out. If you sincerely give it to him and then act from a point of view of from your heart, I don't think you can go wrong. What I have to resist is to resist trying to guide things the way I think they should go. Because by definition, then I've inserted myself into this process. Yeah, I think it's something that becomes more natural the more you do it. Do what? Allow your higher self, allow Meher Baba, who is that self, to express in your actions and words. And in the oath that I take as a chiropractor, which is an ancient medical oath, it says do no harm. And I think that's a good oath for all of us to follow. I don't mean to be so ponderous. Loving him and living by your idea of his standards anyway is not ponderous. It's not really difficult. It should be very natural. But we come from a place where we respond to our ego needs instead of the needs of our companions. And when you switch that perspective, you get a different, sometimes different result or outcome or focus. God, I hope I'm not sounding like I'm some spiritual guy, but these are aspirations.